Okay, so can the environment affect how your genes are expressed? Um, so yeah, first of all, we learned about different things like X-rays and UV light that can cause mutations to your DNA. It can also just your environment can cause your genes to show up or be expressed. That's what we say when our genes are expressed. Like I have a brown gene and a blue gene for eyes. I don't. But if the one that's going to be expressed or shown is brown because it's going to dominate. Okay, so I have the genes brown and blue, but the gene that is expressed and shows up is brown. So there are times when the environment may affect which of these gets expressed or shown. So a great example of this is Siamese cats and Himalayan rabbits. So you notice, look at where they have that different color. Their ears, their nose, and their toes. Why do you think that is those areas? What do you know about your ears, nose, and toes? Think about when you're out in the cold. Where do you feel cold? Your ears, nose, and toes. Okay. So we think that they are black because black, remember, absorbs sunlight. So that black ears, nose, and toes keeps the the most vulnerable part of their body. Why are your ears, nose, and toes coldest? Well, it's very thin there. There's lots of surface area on your ear, whereas like your stomach has like all this nice fat, and it's like tucked away on the inside. Your ears are very much exposed. They have lots of surface area to kind of let the cold get to them. So we think that this bunny has a gene for black and a gene for white, and the environment that Coleman actually makes the black get expressed in cold places and the white get expressed everywhere else. Okay, so how do you prove that? Prove it. Prove it that this bunny's genes, it's black there just because it's cold. So they said, okay, how do you test that? Well, you shave a bunny's back and you put an ice pan there and see if the hair grows back black, to see if it's really the environment, it's really the cold that's causing that black gene to be expressed in cold areas. And guess what happened when they did this? This is a real experiment. The part that they shaved and put ice on grew back black, showing that that cold environment actually caused gene expression to change. So the environment can actually determine which of your genes show up. The control in this was just to shave a bunny's back and not put cold on it, just to show that it wasn't just the shaving process that made it do that. So again, having a control to compare to. And I think we can all relate to this in terms of like when it's sunnier out, maybe our hair gets lighter and our skin gets darker. The sun triggers more melanin to be produced. So again, the environment is actually affecting how your genes express themselves. Another example of the environment affecting how genes are expressed is that we compared a plant in light versus a plant in dark, and it turned out that light activated the making of more chlorophyll, and dark, there wasn't as much chlorophyll made, so they turned very yellow. So again, color is easier for us to see. The environment, the light, caused more of that green to be made, so it affected how the DNA told what protein to be made. It made more chlorophyll be produced. How does this affect us? Well, our internal environment can tell the cells what genes to express. So if you think about it, all of your 37 trillion cells in your body, they all contain that same exact DNA. Well, then how can they be so different? How can skin cells and blood cells and brain cells all look so different? And let's take a look at how different they look. So here are blood cells. We have epithelial, that's skin cells, smooth muscle tissue, muscle cells, sperm cells, bone cells, nerve cells. They look and act really, really different, but they all come the same code of DNA. And how can that be? How can they look so different and have the same DNA? Well, the answer is they use different parts of the DNA. So the red blood cells say, they get kind of a message saying, hey, you need to act like red blood cells. They use this part of the DNA. Let's say maybe that's where it codes for how a red blood cell should look and act. And let's say the nerve cells are programmed from this chunk of DNA, right? So every single cell has the same exact DNA. DNA and parts of it. And how do they know what parts to use? The environment tells them. So if you're located right around here, your environment is telling you, be a skin cell, be a skin cell. Use this part of the DNA that codes for skin cell, and you need to become a skin cell. If you are running through someone's veins, it's going to say, be a blood cell, and you're going to become a blood cell. If you're located in the brain next to other brain cells, your body's going to say, hey, you need to follow the directions and be a cell. So again, environment affects how genes are expressed, like whether, that part of the bunny is going to look black or white actually depends on how cold it is and what parts of the body are cold. And then also that all the 37 trillion cells in your body have the same DNA, but where they are in your body determines what part of the DNA they're going to use.